And what I'm happy to report is that not only is the overpower version of this build now clearing tier 100 with multiple minutes to spare, that's what you're currently looking at, but a non-overpower focused version of the build is also clearing tier 100, although that one also is including a bit of overpower.
You broke my heart. You broke my heart.
What's up, everybody? I'm Grief, and I am just kidding. I'm actually incredibly excited to have Mac speak of my build and actually know what it is, especially considering it's a Sever build in a season where Sever, I think, right now is...
Mostly.
Apparently not, Subo. Thanks for interrupting. In a season where Sever is, I believe, classified as a B tier build, so for us to be pushing above 100 in the pit, to have a bunch of people reaching out and interested in the build, I decided I wanted to make a actual video for the build guide to explain some of the things that I'm doing, what I plan on doing in the future with it, and also to just kind of outline the gear and the Paragon as it stands right now at a 101 clear. So hopefully I can get your attention here with a little bit of footage. I'll show you some tormented boss fights, obviously in Torment 4. I will show you some Aether that I was able to get off of a Horde run while masterworking, and then I will also include at the end some 101 pit run footage. You can find that full video on the YouTube channel. And then I'll also obviously get into the build itself. Oh yeah. Get off me! Don't you touch me! Don't you touch me! Oh! That's the way you do it. Sit down. Seat, Lilith. She says, and I'm gonna get the hell out. That's what you gotta be. Oh boy, that's right. Oof. This guy's a beast. Beast in the ice. Ah! What the hell? We just gotta do the barrier thing. Be his hope to stay alive. He just does the barrier thing. Oh no! It's actually harder than everyone else. Girlfriend. Give me the Dairy Elf vision! Give me the Dairy Elf! Ah! We're gonna get you. Oh, it's just terrible for her. Love you. Farewell. Duriel just... It's always like... Oh! Knocked me against the wall. Hey! Buddy! Turn around! Never mind. Yeah. Don't farewell, fat boy. So here I was hoping to show you some footage of a run that I did just the other day trying to masterwork. I was able to get like 1300 Aether. I actually thought this was the footage, and I've probably deleted that footage. So this is the run that's currently on YouTube. It's over 1,000, I believe, Aether, just to show you that it does perform well in Hordes, the same as it does in the pit. Honestly, I feel like if anything can perform in the pit, it's going to perform well in anything lower than that, with the exception of running lower tier pits. It will not do as well there, depending on where the line is. If you go too low, you're not getting the benefit from the enemies that you need to like reset your cooldowns and stuff like that, so you're going to suffer. You need to find a sweet spot where you're still getting that benefit from the enemies. They're living long enough to help you, but obviously dying fast enough that you can still clear it quickly and get your XP or whatever you're going for. So again, this is an older fight. This is, you'll see blood lances on the bar. This was just me messing around to see about the attack speed on bosses with blood lance and getting some Aether for masterworking. So my apologies on not having the most up-to-date footage on the Hordes, but still, it's better than it was then, and we were able to get over 1,000 here. So there's that. So after this, we'll move into the build guide. I will show you where the setup is as of today, where I plan on taking it. It will go through all the Paragon skill tree and stuff like that. I'll do some explaining, and we'll try to get everybody on the same page as far as what my thinking is with the build, so that you can maybe make some changes yourself, or if you're just trying to learn more about how the build functions. Alright, so before I get into the build itself and the gear, I just wanted to add a little disclaimer here that there is no build guide online that you're going to plug in and just do exactly what you see it doing. I think a lot of people get a bad taste in their mouth from builds when they think that that's going to happen, and it doesn't happen. If you look at my gear, you're going to see a lot of work goes into this, a lot of masterworking, a lot of time is involved in grinding to get the materials to do that masterworking. A lot of trading on the trade site is required if you want to make the gold necessary to buy the gear that you need, because you're not going to be lucky enough to find everything you need on the ground. You'll find close to it. You'll find stuff that's great for other builds that's not great for you. You need to sell that gear to buy the gear that you need. A really good way to do that is by playing another class that's very popular. Right now, Spiritborn is a great example. Last season, Sorcerer, Rogue, those were good examples. If you play those classes and you really don't care about the gear that you're getting, all of that gear can be sold, and it fetches a way higher price than Necromancer gear. Necromancer is not a very popular class, believe it or not. It is to us, but it's not to everyone else. So the gear for Necromancer is usually really cheap. There can be some overlap where sorcerers might want some gear that we use and stuff like that, where it's going to cost a little more. But overall, you can make a lot of gold to fund your Necromancer by selling gear for other classes, also for selling for Necromancer, but you'll make a lot more gear selling to other classes. So always keep that in mind. What I'm going to do is show you the gear and explain why I'm doing what I'm doing. It is not the ideal setup. That can be found on the build guide. This is me working toward something better, and I'll explain a little bit of my thought process so you can kind of get an idea of where this is going in the future. So we can get right into, first and foremost, the elixirs and incense that I run when I'm running the pit. Really quickly, Elixir of Precision, I'll explain why in just a moment. Chorus of War, Sage's Whisper, and Spiral Morning. Elixir of Precision I'm running to get myself closer to the crit cap. I want to get 100% crit strike chance. We are currently sitting at 95.2 in town. We get to 100, just a little bit over, once we drink our elixir. We also are a little bit over where we need to be on the breakpoint for attack speed. I think it's somewhere between 90 and 91 on the two-handed sword. We're at 95, so we're good there. We go well into 100 once Variana gets into her bloodthirst, or whatever it's called. She goes crazy. She's a cannibal. We'll get into the Mercs in the video in just a moment. I wasn't going to pick my nose just there. Yes, I was. So, on the gear. Air of Perdition for the helm. Really quickly, I'm running a 1GA, obviously. If you could get better than that, great. That'll help a lot. I am double critted into core skills and 1 into crit strike chance on the masterworking. I am running my rune words on my helmet. You'll want to run rune words on one piece of armor and rune words on your weapon. That's very important because that enables you to put intelligence, gems, topaz in your other pieces of armor, which is a lot more valuable than any gems you can put into your weapon. So make sure you're running 1 set of rune words in a piece of armor and 1 set of rune words in your weapon. For the chest piece, Shroud of False Death, we're running this. Everyone's running this for the most part. +1 to all passives is huge, and I'll show you why in a moment when we get into the skill tree. I was lucky enough to get a 3GA and a 3GA that has everything that I want. We don't really care about damage on the next attack after entering stealth because it's not helping you, especially on this build. That attack could be anything. I don't know what that attack's going to be. All of the other ones, GA 100% is amazing. If you don't get it, it's not the end of the world. Even a 2GA would be great on all stats and max life. If you're looking at a 1GA, you're crafting and you're only getting 1GA, I think max life is probably your best bet here. You might like all stats better. So I am double critted into max life. I have 1 crit into resource generation, and I left it at that because I feel like without having the essence per second on boots, since we added Greaves, we really need as much resource as possible to overcome Great Feast, because I don't want to drop Great Feast. On the gloves, I'm running the Damned on my gloves. Some people want to run this on Amulet. I like to run Sacrificial on Amulet, which we'll get to. I'm running the Damned on gloves. I have a 2GA int in Sever. GA on Sever is expensive to begin with. GA on Int and Sever, I can't remember how much I paid for these, but it was expensive as hell. Took a lot of my gold away early season. I had to make that back up on the trade side like we just talked about. It was incredibly hard to overcome at that time. I was broke as hell. You do not want max life on your gloves. If you don't get attack speed here, I feel like you're going to struggle to get attack speed. If you figure out a way to make that work, good for you. I'm running double crit on Sever, and I'm running a single crit on attack speed, and that's working out really well for me. On the pants, I'm running Exploiters. You could run Concussive Strikes if you want to. That's going to give you a little bit of damage boost during the boss fight when they're staggered. Exploiters isn't going to help you on the boss fight, but it is going to help you in such a way in the pit that it's going to make it worth your while to give you more time for the boss fight. So what you're doing here, this is when you're spamming those tendrils and you're pulling those elites in over and over and over. And after, I believe Rise told me, thank you, that it is 7 seconds of complete crowd control. Once they hit that, they go unstoppable. I forget for how much time. I want to say it's 3 or 4 seconds they go unstoppable. But you can basically kind of keep them unstoppable and keep them taking that extra 45% damage or whatever your roll is. Try to get max on that if you can. And so I'm running a double crit into int and 1 into corpse tendril size. That's where it landed. I'm kind of okay with it. I would have liked to see it in armor or total armor, and that would have made it so that I don't need to put anything into spiked armor, which I'll show you on the skill tree. I currently have to do because I missed that crit. Greaves of the Empty Tomb are back on the build. We lost essence per second, like I said, when the double damage was fixed. Unfortunately, mine are not set up perfectly right now, and this is why I said follow the build guide. Don't follow my gear here necessarily, because it may not be exactly what you want. I am running triple on Sever size on accident. I wanted double right now for what I was trying to do. What you probably want to do is to run it up, I believe, double on double damage, maybe a single crit on Sever size on your boots, and then your weapon will make up the difference. I wouldn't triple crit double damage because you're going to have this on your weapon no matter what. To get over the cap, I believe, you may not need to. I did need to because I don't have GA on that. And I'm not going to go after it necessarily right now, maybe later. On my sword, it is incredibly stupid right now for you to follow this. I was doing something with Blood Moon Breaches. We are going to try to do something with Blood Moon Breaches further in the future. 100 billion on a single cast of Sever on an overpowered crit. It is incredibly powerful, but it is also incredibly hard to make it work with this. So as of right now, I have not done a clear with it, just a poop load of damage. Hopefully in the future you'll see that on the build. Right now, no. Reaping Lotus on the two-hander. Do not run Grandfather. Do not run anything else. You want that big damage boost on there from Reaping Lotus. For the amulet, I like my amulet a lot. You're going to want at least a GA on intelligence percentage. You're going to hope for a GA on gloom. If you get that, great. It's going to be expensive. If you find it, you're the luckiest person alive. Amplified damage is where I'm at on the second there. You could run terror. You could run another passive that you like. On tempering, we can see it here, and on anything else, offensive temper, I'm running crit strike damage where I can. I'm not running overpower there on the tempers because I want to run crit strike because that gives you damage even when you're not overpowering. Yes, it's additive, but it's still a little more damage. So that's why I'm doing that. There's really nothing else that I like there. I'm running resource generation on the ring. I've got triple crit on my attack speed. We have 2 GA, obviously, you can see on int and attack speed. I don't necessarily need that extra crit strike chance, so I'm not going to go crazy paying for a ring with a GA on crit strike chance as well. Our Ring of Starless Skies, I've been trying to get something better. I've made so many of them, I just haven't gotten what I wanted yet. If I could get 2 GA core skills and attack speed, I'd be happy with that. If you have that, more power to you, but you could get away with just attack speed here. Double crit on core skills and single crit on attack speed, and that's getting us up at the 95 that we're at on attack speed, like I told you, which is actually above the breakpoint, so not necessary. You could be a little lower than that, you'd still be fine. As far as rune words go, we're running Lithwat here. It is extremely important that you run this and don't try to run Cursed Aura. The reason being is that Lithwat is going to give you the benefit of both of the last passives on there, Abhorrent and Horrid. So you're getting the death to enemies at 10% or lower. That applies to elites in the pit, which is huge. That moves you along very quickly. And then you're also getting your cooldowns reset like crazy from Abhorrent to Crepify. You're getting the benefit of both because you have points into the skill tree, which we'll go over in a second. And then on the weapon, I have Ahu and Zan. Zan is giving you that huge OP crit hit. It is on Ahu right now in the higher tier pits. It is popping way more than it does with Tam. If you like it better with Tam, you can trigger with Tam. That works just fine. You may enjoy your boss fight more. I actually like the way this works. You can see it in action in the videos, and the way that I'm playing it is I am using trash to fuel it, to get it going, and once Ahu gets anybody down around 30% health, they just start feeding it, and it just repeats itself over and over, and you're able to work down a huge group to nothing. When you get to a boss that has ads, and you got these little dudes running around, and they're taking damage, or the bone walls, whatever might be taking damage, when they're down around 30% health, you'll see Ahu fill up really quickly, and those bosses will die quicker than a boss that doesn't have ads. So again, if you're fishing the pits, you're looking for bosses with ads. If you're running Tam, not as important, but you may not have as much as that time when you get to that boss. So I like to run Ahu right now when we're running pit 100 and up. That's it for the gear. For our sacrifices, Reaper, Cold, and Iron in that order. Don't do it in any other order. I'm just kidding. What I want to do actually really quickly before I show you the skill tree is we're going to rip off our chest piece and let him hang. Just kidding. Perverts. We're going to take that off so that you can see without the extra passives. It really confuses a lot of things. So 2 up here just to unlock. Wouldn't it be cool if there was a passive up here that was just like barely anything, but at least I could just put 2 points and get something out of it to move on to my core. On the core section of the tree, you're running 1 into huge flesh. Keep in mind all of these will get +1 from the chest piece. You're putting 3 into imperfectly balanced. You're putting 1 here all the way to supernatural blight. You are putting all 5 into Sever. You are running Enhance and then Paranormal. We don't want this. Some people do. They run Wolves. Whatever you like. Ghastly Blood Mist. I like to have this. It's an extra 2 points you got to spend, but I like to have it because we have our corpse that we know we're going to have on those big groups. We know it's going to drop that. We know we're going to have a corpse to pull them with tendrils when we come out of Blood Mist. Alright, moving on to Corpse Explosion. You're going to want to run Blighted. People might think that you don't want to. Plagued is more powerful, but the problem is that this will steal your Zan, where this will not. This cannot overpower, it cannot crit, so you can eat your corpses to get your Fuel by Death and your Flesh Eater buff, but you will not end up wasting your Zan hit on something that you don't want to waste it on. So use Blighted Corpse Explosion for sure. Eat your corpses that way. Fueled by Death, 3 points there. 3 points Necrotic Fortitude, 3 points into Titan's Fall. I have 1 point here into Spiked Armor. It's 2 with the passive from False Death, and that's how I'm getting over Armor Cap right now. You may not need to do this. If you don't, you would stick that point back down in here in Necrotic Carapace. That's where I took it from. Alright, moving on. You are looking at amplified damage, 3 points there. You got 3 points into Precision Decay and 3 points into Death's Embrace. You want to work yourself down to Abhorrent Decrepify for reasons that we just talked about. Instead of putting the point that I just mentioned into Necrotic Carapace, you could also put it here and give yourself an extra 50% slow on enemies that are being pulled by corpse tendrils. That helps a little bit in the pit. I think that I would actually go that route if I could take a point out of Spiked Armor, which I may end up in that boat in the future. 1 point into Reaver's Pursuit to get us over to Gloom, to get us over to Terror. We do end up with a point into Crippling Darkness from the passive from Shroud of False Death, so that's why you don't see any there right now. We've got 5 points into our Soul Rift, and we go for Prime. We've got 3 points into Finality, 3 points in Memento Mori, 3 points into Standalone, and we are running Affliction, which everyone, I think, is running Affliction. So that's the skill tree. Again, make sure you're following the guide because there may be changes here even. I'm not sure. I don't think so. But there could be some changes here that I'm making as I'm testing things and working toward pushing a higher pit that may not make sense for you right now. So make sure you're following the guide, which will be up on Max Roll very soon. For now, you can find it on Mobalytics. Paragon board. Now, you can change this. You can do what you want to do. This is what I'm doing, and this is working out really well for me. People have asked about possibly running Dominate in place of Sacrificial. Again, like I said, for the tempering on my offensive stuff, if you do that, that's only applying when you're overpowering. you're not overpowering all the time. So to me, you're better off getting that across the board damage that's covering you when you're not overpowering, and it also helps obviously when you're hitting that crit overpower. So that's what I'm running. Starter board, I keep it real clean. I just grab what I need. We're running Abyssal there. On Bloodbath, we are taking the legendary node here for the 70% multiplier to overpower damage. I believe that's pretty huge, and I'm grabbing these additives. Again, the new setup on Paragon is tough because if you run up these boards and you grab every single node that I'm grabbing, you're going to have a hard time getting to the end and getting what you need there because you want to grab that earlier than later. So what I recommend is running this bare bones until you get all 5 boards and all your glyphs in and your legendary nodes and the rares that are important and your requirements for your bonuses and stuff like that, and then go back and grab all these additives like you see up in here. The additives that I would be worried about for now are not like this overpower and stuff like that. I would worry about the ones that are giving you max life, like these here, and ones you'll see on the other parts of the board. I will see if it's possible to make a bare bones version of the boards so that you know what to grab right off the bat, get yourself filled out, and then as you progress through the Paragon more, you can add those nodes later on. So again, Bloodbath, we are running Exploit there. We've got 75 decks in the long run. Make sure you get your 25 to get your bonus and then move on, and then go back and get the max that you can get. We're running Sacrificial here. It's giving us a nice little bonus on the magic nodes here for some more additive. That's nice. Grab the max life there. Grab Frailty, legendary node. Senadeth, Essence we're running here. I grab the legendary. I think it's useful. Here's another example of where you would go after. Come on, Subo, really? Yes, now be quiet. So you're going to grab that extra max life wherever you can. It is worth the nodes that you're going to spend there. Last but not least, we're grabbing Flesh Eater, and this is where we're running Eliminator. You may think it's better to run it somewhere else. You may want to run these glyphs in a different order, however you like. Maybe you got a Paragon that works better than mine. I'd like to see it sometime. This is what I'm running. This is the way it goes. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you can change it. Experiment with it, and if you end up in a better place than me, great. My glyphs are all at 100. If yours are not, my advice to you is to get a Spiritborn friend and make it easy for them by getting them as high as you can get them, and then have your Spiritborn friend help you get them to 100 quickly. That's really helpful. Spiritborn are great. Mercenaries, Subo, like I said, he's giving you that radar, which is huge in the pit. You can see where those enemies are for pulling into your groups, which is huge. And this is where we're running down this lane here. We're coming around here, and that's where we are with Subo. And then Variana, like I said, Bloodthirst, and we put that on for when Sever goes off. She just goes crazy every once in a while. She's a lunatic. That's pretty much it here. Again, just keep in mind that this is the setup the way that I run it. Maybe that's not best for you. Play with it. Learn why things are working the way they are. Change them around. Go to the training dummy. See if something works better. I actually don't use the training dummy anymore. Once I have it set up, I go into the pit and I test my changes there, because if I can clear a 101 with this new setup that I couldn't clear 100 with, that I couldn't clear with the setup that I had on 100, then great, that works. That's proof positive to me that what I'm doing is working, and I move on to the next. And that's what we're going to continue to do. Hopefully we can get this thing over 105. That would be excellent. I think it is possible with Blood Moon Breaches if we can make that work. So that's it for me. I'll leave you with a little bit of footage from the pit clear there, and thank you for checking out the video. Thank you for checking out the build. Special thanks to the guys from the Curse Cult. I forced them in there. They love it. Final, O's, Aureus, and Trick. Sejon as well, but he's disappeared. Thanks to Siroc. Thanks to Mac, and Maxroll. We'll be moving our build over there soon. So that's it from me. Thank you guys again, and I will see you on the next video.